Evan Clark had everything money could buy, but the one thing he'd lost 5 years ago was about to walk back into his life in the most shocking way possible. A routine trip to the emergency room, a nurse's innocent mistake, and suddenly he was staring at a little boy who looked exactly like him, in the arms of the woman he'd never stopped loving. Maya had built a life without him, raised their son alone, and now Evan faced the truth he'd been running from. He was a father, and he'd missed everything, but his own father had other plans, and the battle between duty and love was about to tear Evan's world apart. Could a millionaire who'd chosen fear over family prove he'd changed, or would the past destroy their second chance before it even began? If you're watching this, hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments where you're watching from, because this story is just getting started. The wet marble floor caught Evan Clark by surprise. One moment he was walking through his office building lobby, checking his phone. The next, his feet slipped out from under him. His shoulder hit the ground hard. Pain shot through his arm like lightning. "Mr. Clark!" His assistant rushed over, her heels clicking on the floor. "Are you okay?" Evan sat up slowly, holding his shoulder. His expensive suit was soaked. Blood dripped from a cut above his elbow where he'd scraped against the edge of a planter. "I'm fine," he said, but his voice was tight with pain. "You're bleeding. You need to go to the hospital." He wanted to argue. He had meetings, important calls to make. But when he tried to move his arm, the pain made him dizzy. "All right, call my driver." 20 minutes later, Evan sat in the emergency room waiting area. The overhead lights were too bright. A TV in the corner played the news with no sound. A little girl colored in a book while her mother filled out paperwork. Everything smelled like cleaning products and coffee. Evan Clark, a nurse, appeared with a clipboard. She was young, maybe mid-30s, with kind eyes and her hair pulled back in a neat bun. "Follow me, please." Evan stood, cradling his injured arm. The nurse led him through a maze of hallways. His dress shoes squeaked on the clean floor. They passed rooms with curtains pulled closed. Somewhere nearby, a baby cried. "Right through here," the nurse said. She smiled as she pulled back a blue curtain. "Dad can come too." Evan stepped forward. Then he froze. A woman stood inside the small exam room, holding a little boy in her arms. The boy had his face pressed against her shoulder. She wore jeans and a simple blue sweater. Her black hair was pulled back in a ponytail. When she turned, her brown eyes went wide. Evan's heart stopped. "Maya?" The word came out barely above a whisper. It had been 5 years. 5 years since he'd seen her face. 5 years since he'd made the biggest mistake of his life. Maya's mouth opened, but no sound came out. The little boy lifted his head from her shoulder. He looked at Evan with curious blue eyes. Blonde curls fell across his forehead. The nurse looked between them, confused. "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought—" "He's not the father," Maya said quickly. Her voice was steadier than Evan expected. "You have the wrong person." The boy stared at Evan. He had to be about 4 years old, maybe 5. His small hand gripped Maya's sweater. His face was round and sweet. And those eyes, those blue eyes that looked exactly like— I'll get you to another room," the nurse stammered. Her cheeks turned pink. "I'm so sorry for the confusion." Evan couldn't move. His shoulder throbbed, but he barely felt it now. All he could see was the boy, the blonde hair, the blue eyes, the shape of his nose. It was like looking in a mirror that showed the past. "Maya," he said again. Who is he?" Maya shifted the boy to her other hip. She wouldn't meet Evan's eyes. "This is Caleb." "My son." "Your son." The words hung in the air between them, heavy, impossible to ignore. Caleb studied Evan with the intense focus only children have. He pointed a small finger. "You hurt." The simple question broke through Evan's shock. He looked down at his arm. Blood had soaked through his shirt sleeve. "Yeah, buddy, I had a little accident." "Mr. Clark, please," the nurse said gently. She touched his good arm. "Let me take you to another exam room." Evan didn't want to leave. He had 1,000 questions, but Maya's face was pale. Her jaw was tight. She held Caleb like he was her shield against the world. "Okay," Evan said quietly. He looked at Maya one more time. It's good to see you." Maya's eyes filled with something he couldn't read. Fear? Sadness? "You too?" The nurse led him away. His legs felt wooden. Behind him, he heard the curtain close. He heard Maya's soft voice talking to Caleb. The boy's laugh was light and sweet. In another exam room 3 doors down, Evan sat on the paper-covered bed. The nurse checked his vitals with quick, professional movements. Her earlier embarrassment had faded into focused efficiency. "The doctor will be in shortly to look at that cut," she said. It might need stitches. That's fine. She started to leave, then paused. I really am sorry about the confusion. It's not your fault. When she left, Evan stared at the white wall. His mind raced. Maya, here, after all this time. And a son, a little boy who looked just like him. No, he was seeing things, wanting things. Maya had moved on. She'd clearly built a life without him. The boy was probably... But those eyes, that face. Evan pulled out his phone with his good hand. His fingers shook as he opened old photos. He scrolled back years, past business dinners and charity events, past trips to Europe and meetings with investors, all the way back to 5 years ago. There, a photo of him and Maya at a friend's wedding. She wore a purple dress. Her smile was bright and real. His arm was around her waist. They looked happy. They'd been happy. He zoomed in on his own face, on his eyes. The same blue, the same exact shade. The doctor came in before Evan could think too hard. She was older, efficient with grey hair and steady hands. She cleaned his wound, used butterfly strips to close the deeper part, then added 3 neat stitches. Keep it dry for a week, she said. Change the bandage daily. Take ibuprofen for pain. Thank you. You're free to go. Stop by the front desk for discharge papers. Evan left the exam room in a daze. The hallway seemed longer now, brighter. He walked past the nurse's station, past the waiting area, toward the front desk. His mind kept replaying that moment when the curtain opened, the look on Maya's face, the little boy in her arms. He stopped at the discharge waiting area. A few plastic chairs lined the wall. A water cooler hummed in the corner. Evan sat down heavily. His shoulder ached. His head hurt worse. The door to the pediatric bay opened. Maya stepped out with Caleb on her hip. The boy had a cartoon bandage on his knee. He was chattering about something, his small hands moving as he talked. Maya listened with a patient smile. Then she saw Evan. They both stopped. For a long moment, neither moved. Other people walked past them. Nurses with charts, a janitor pushing a mop bucket, an old man with a walker. But Evan and Maya stood still, caught in the weight of 5 years. Caleb noticed him first. "Hi," he said brightly. He waved his small hand. Evan's throat tightened. "Hi there." Maya took a breath. She walked forward slowly, like approaching something fragile. "How's your arm?" 3 stitches. Nothing serious. Evan stood up. He was taller than her by half a foot, but somehow she seemed bigger right now. Stronger. What happened to him? Fell at the playground. Just a scrape, but it wouldn't stop bleeding. Maya adjusted Caleb on her hip. "Kids, you know." "Yeah." The silence stretched. Awkward. Painful. There was so much to say, and no way to say it. Not here. Not now. Not with Caleb listening to every word. Maya's phone rang. She pulled it from her pocket, glanced at the screen. "It's Sophia. My friend. She's probably worried." "You should answer." "Yeah." But Maya didn't move. She looked at Evan's bandaged arm. "I'm glad you're okay." "Maya, we should go. It's almost dinner time." She hitched Caleb higher on her hip. The boy had already lost interest in Evan. He was playing with a small toy car from his pocket, making quiet engine noises. Evan watched them walk toward the exit. The automatic doors slid open. Cool evening air rushed in. Maya stepped through with Caleb. She didn't look back. Evan sank into the plastic chair. His hands were shaking. He pressed them against his knees and tried to breathe. That boy. Those eyes. "Sir," the receptionist called. "Your discharge papers are ready." "Coming." Evan drove home in silence. His penthouse apartment was downtown, 40 floors up with windows overlooking the city. Usually the view calmed him. Tonight it felt empty. He poured a glass of water, took the pain medication the doctor prescribed, stood by the window and watched the sun set behind the buildings. His phone buzzed. "Unknown number. Can we talk, please? Just talk." Evan stared at the message. He didn't know Maya's number anymore. She'd changed it years ago, but somehow he knew it was her. He typed back, "When?" The response came quickly. "Tomorrow morning? There's a cafe on Maple Street. Sunrise coffee, 9 a.m. I'll be there. Thank you." Evan set the phone down. His reflection stared back at him from the dark window. He looked tired, older than 31. When had the lines appeared around his eyes? Sleep didn't come easy that night. He lay in his king-size bed and stared at the ceiling. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Caleb's face. The blue eyes, the blonde curls. He saw Maya holding him, the protective way she'd shifted him on her hip, the soft tone in her voice when she talked to him. 4 years old maybe, which would mean... Evan sat up. His heart pounded. He did the math. 5 years since he'd seen Maya. 9 months for pregnancy. That would make Caleb about 4.5. The timing fit perfectly. No. He was jumping to conclusions. Plenty of kids had blonde hair and blue eyes. It didn't mean anything. But deep down, in a place he didn't want to look, Evan knew. He'd always been good at reading situations. It's what made him successful in business, and every instinct screamed the same thing. That boy was his son. Morning came too slowly. Evan was up before dawn. He showered carefully, keeping his bandaged arm dry. He put on jeans and a plain grey shirt. Nothing too formal. Nothing that screamed millionaire businessman. Just normal. He arrived at Sunrise Coffee 15 minutes early. The cafe was small and warm, wood tables, mismatched chairs, the smell of fresh coffee and cinnamon rolls. A chalkboard on the wall listed daily specials in cheerful handwriting. Evan ordered black coffee and sat by the window. His knee bounced under the table. He checked his phone. 8:47 a.m. At 8:52, the door opened. Maya stepped inside. She wore jeans and a green sweater. Her hair was down today, falling in soft waves around her shoulders. She wasn't wearing makeup. She didn't need it. She was beautiful the way morning light is beautiful, gentle and real. Her eyes found his immediately. She walked over with slow, careful steps. "Hi," she said. "Hi." Evan stood, then sat again. "Do you want coffee?" I'll get it. Be right back," she ordered at the counter. Evan watched her talk to the barista. She smiled at something they said. That smile had once been his. He'd taken it for granted. Maya came back with tea. She sat across from him. The small table felt like an ocean. "Thank you for meeting me," she said quietly. "Of course." They both sipped their drinks. Outside the window, people walked past. A woman with a dog, a man on a bike. Life continuing like everything was normal. "How have you been?" Maya asked. It was such a simple question, such an impossible one to answer. "Good. Busy. Work is—" He trailed off. "It doesn't matter. How are you?" "I'm okay, good actually." Maya wrapped both hands around her mug. "I work at an elementary school now, in the office. It's steady, quiet." "That sounds nice." "It is." Another silence, this one heavier. Evan set down his coffee. His hands were steadier today. "Maya, I need to ask you something." She looked up. Her brown eyes were clear and calm, but he saw the tension in her shoulders, the way she held her mug like an anchor. "Is he mine?" The words hung between them. Maya's face didn't change. She didn't look away. "Yes." One word. That's all it took. One simple word, and Evan's entire world tilted sideways. "Yes," Maya said again, softer this time. "Caleb is your son." Evan's vision blurred. He blinked hard. His throat was tight. "How long? Why didn't you—" "I tried to tell you." Maya's voice was gentle but firm. "When I found out I was pregnant, I called you. Remember? You said you couldn't talk. You were in a meeting. You'd call me back." Evan remembered. It was coming back in pieces. A phone call. He'd been preparing for a presentation. His father had been in his office, going over numbers. Maya's call had come at the worst time. "You never called back," Maya continued. "So I tried again the next day and the day after that. But you'd already started pulling away. You were so stressed about work, about your father, about us. I was an idiot. You were scared." Maya's eyes were kind. That made it worse somehow. "We both were. We were young. You were building your business. Your dad didn't approve of us, of me. The pressure was crushing you. I could see it." Evan remembered those days. His father Paul had made his feelings clear. "She's not right for you," he'd said. "Different backgrounds. It'll never work. Focus on your career." Evan had been weak. He'd let those words get inside his head. He'd started working longer hours, skipping dates, making excuses. Until finally Maya had sat him down and ended things herself. "You're not happy," she'd said, "and I can't keep fighting to be with someone who's not sure they want me." He'd let her walk away. He'd told himself it was for the best, that his father was right, that they wanted different things. "When I realized you weren't going to call back, I decided not to push it," Maya said. "You'd made it clear you didn't want a family. Your father had made it even clearer. I wasn't going to trap you into something you didn't want. You should have told me anyway." "Maybe," Maya's voice was steady, "but I was 24 years old, pregnant, alone, and terrified. I made the best decision I could with what I had." Evan wanted to argue, to say she'd stolen 4 years from him, but looking at her face, tired but peaceful, he knew it wasn't that simple. "I never wanted to hurt you," Maya said. or keep Caleb from you. I couldn't handle rejection again. Not with a baby involved. I wouldn't have rejected him. Are you sure? Maya tilted her head. Be honest, Evan. If I'd shown up 5 years ago, pregnant and scared, what would you have done? He wanted to say he would have stepped up, been there, done the right thing. But he remembered who he'd been back then, scared of his father's disapproval, terrified of commitment, focused only on proving himself in business. I don't know, he admitted quietly. I want to say I would have been there. But I don't know. Maya nodded. That's fair. But I know now. Evan leaned forward. His coffee was cold, forgotten. I'm not that person anymore. I've spent 5 years regretting what happened between us, working on myself, growing up finally. I'm glad. I want to know him. The words came out rushed. Caleb, I want to be part of his life, if you'll let me, at whatever pace you're comfortable with. I'm not trying to push in or take over, but he's my son, and I've already missed so much. Maya was quiet for a long time. She watched people pass by the window, a mother with a stroller, an elderly couple holding hands. He asks about his dad sometimes, she said finally. I always told him the truth, that his father lived far away and couldn't be here, but that didn't mean he wasn't loved. Caleb he's such a good kid, Evan. Sweet, curious, kind. He deserves stability. I can give him that. Can you? Maya looked at him directly. Because I need to know you're serious. I can handle my own heartbreak. I did it once and survived, but I won't let Caleb get hurt. If you're going to be in his life, you have to stay. No running when things get hard. I won't run. Your father doesn't control my life anymore. Evan's voice was firm. I'm done letting him make decisions for me. Maya studied his face for a long moment. Whatever she saw there must have been enough. She nodded slowly. Okay, she said. We'll start slow. Casual meetings. Let him get to know you naturally. No pressure, no forcing anything. Thank you. Evan's eyes burned. Thank you for giving me this chance. It's not for you, Maya said gently. It's for him. Every kid deserves to know their father if possible. Still, thank you. Maya checked her phone. I need to pick up Caleb from Sophia's place soon. She watched him this morning. Could I see him today? Just for a little while? Maya hesitated, then nodded. There's a playground near my apartment. We were going to go this afternoon around 3. If you want to meet us there, you can. Keep it casual, natural. I'll be there. Maya stood. She paused, looking down at him. Evan, don't make me regret this. I won't. She left without another word. Evan watched through the window as she walked down the sidewalk and disappeared around the corner. He sat there for a long time after she left. His coffee was cold. His shoulder ached. But none of that mattered. He had a son, a little boy with blonde curls and blue eyes, and this afternoon he'd get to meet him, really meet him, not by accident in a hospital, but as his father. Evan pulled out his phone. His father had called twice already this morning. He deleted the notifications without listening to the voicemails. Some things were more important than business. Some things were worth fighting for. He'd learned that lesson too late once before. He wouldn't make the same mistake twice. The playground was busy for a Wednesday afternoon. Kids ran across the wood chips, chasing each other. Parents sat on benches, watching and talking. The sun was warm. The sky was clear. Evan arrived 10 minutes early. He sat on a bench at the edge of the playground. His palms were sweating. He wiped them on his jeans. At 3:05, he saw them. Maya walked down the sidewalk holding Caleb's hand. The boy skipped beside her, talking non-stop. His cartoon bandage was bright against his small knee. Maya saw Evan. She said something to Caleb, who looked over. His face lit up. "The man from the hospital!" he shouted. He pulled free from Maya's hand and ran toward Evan. Evan's heart jumped into his throat. He stood quickly. Caleb stopped a few feet away, suddenly shy. His small hands twisted in his shirt. "Hi," Evan said. He tried to sound normal, calm, like his entire world wasn't spinning. "How's your knee?" Caleb looked down at his bandage. "It's okay, it stopped bleeding. Mama said I was very brave." "I bet you were." Maya caught up, slightly out of breath. "Caleb, this is Evan. He's an old friend of mine." "Hi," Caleb said again. He studied Evan with intense focus. "You got stitches too?" "I did. 3 of them. I only got 1 stitch. Well, not really a stitch. Just a sticky thing." Caleb pointed to his knee. "But I didn't cry. That's very brave." Caleb beamed. Then, without warning, he grabbed Evan's hand. "Come see the swings. They go really high." Evan looked at Maya. She nodded, giving him a small smile. "Okay," Evan said. His voice cracked slightly. Show me. Caleb dragged him across the playground. His small hand was warm in Evan's much larger one. He talked the entire way, explaining the different parts of the playground. Which slide was fastest, which monkey bars were too hard, where the best place to dig was. Evan barely heard the words. He was too focused on the feeling of that small hand in his. The way Caleb looked up at him with complete trust, like meeting a stranger at a playground, was the most natural thing in the world. They reached the swings. Caleb climbed onto one, wiggling to get comfortable. "Push me," he demanded. Then, remembering his manners, added, "Please." Evan moved behind the swing. He gave a gentle push. Caleb's legs kicked out. "Higher." Evan pushed again, a bit harder. Caleb laughed. The sound was pure joy. It hit Evan straight in the chest. Maya appeared beside him. She didn't say anything, just stood there watching her son swing back and forth. "He's perfect," Evan said quietly. "He is. I missed so much." "You can't change that." Maya's voice was gentle. "But you can be here now." Caleb dragged his feet in the wood chips, slowing the swing. He hopped off and ran to the slide. "Watch me." They watched. Caleb climbed the ladder and slid down with his arms in the air. He did it 3 more times, each time looking to make sure they were watching. After the slide came the sandbox. Caleb plopped down and started building something with intense concentration. Evan sat on the edge of the sandbox. Maya sat beside him. "He's good at entertaining himself," Maya said. "Always has been." Does he ask about me? About having a dad?" "Sometimes. Mostly when he sees other kids with their fathers. I always told him that his dad loved him but couldn't be here right now." Evan's chest ached. "You could have told him I didn't care, that I wasn't worth knowing. You would have been justified." "No." Maya shook her head. "I'd never do that. Kids need to form their own opinions, and honestly, I never thought you didn't care. I thought you were scared. There's a difference." Caleb looked up from his sandcastle. "Look, I made a tower." "That's amazing," Evan said. "And he meant it." Caleb grinned. Then he picked up a small plastic truck. He held it out to Evan. "Here, you can help." Evan took the truck. It was green, with chipped paint on the wheels. He rolled it through the sand toward Caleb's tower. "Beep, beep," Caleb giggled. He pushed his own truck to meet Evan's. They played like that for 20 minutes, pushing trucks, building roads, knocking over towers and rebuilding them. Caleb's laughter filled the air. Evan couldn't stop smiling. Maya watched with soft eyes. She didn't interrupt, just let them exist in this moment. Eventually, Caleb yawned. He rubbed his eyes with sandy hands. "Someone's getting tired," Maya said. She stood and brushed off her jeans. "We should head home. It's almost dinner time." "Okay," Caleb said, but he didn't move. He looked at Evan. "Are you going to come back?" Evan's throat closed. "Do you want me to?" Caleb nodded seriously. "Yeah, you're fun. Then I'll come back." Evan looked at Maya. "If that's okay with your mom." "It's okay," Maya said. Caleb stood and brushed sand off his shorts. He grabbed Evan's hand again like it was the most natural thing in the world. "Come on, we have to go home now." They walked to the edge of the playground together. Caleb chatted about what he wanted for dinner. Chicken nuggets, apparently, and French fries, and maybe ice cream if he was really good. At the playground gate, Maya gently took Caleb's hand from Evan's. "Say goodbye." "Bye." Caleb waved enthusiastically. "Come back soon." "I will," Evan promised. They walked away. Evan stood there long after they disappeared down the block. The playground was emptying out. The sun was lower in the sky. His shadow stretched long across the wood chips. His phone buzzed. A text from Maya. "Thank you for being gentle with him." He texted back. "Thank you for letting me." Another buzz. "Same time Friday?" "I'll be there." Evan walked back to his car. His shoulder barely hurt anymore. His steps felt lighter. The world looked different, brighter somehow. He had a son, a little boy who'd handed him a toy truck like it was a gift beyond price, who'd grabbed his hand without hesitation, who'd laughed at sandcastles and asked him to come back. Evan sat in his car and let the tears come, happy tears this time, for what he'd found, for what he'd been given, for the chance to be better than he was before. His phone rang. His father's name flashed on the screen. Evan declined the call. Some conversations could wait. This feeling, this warm, overwhelming, terrifying joy, was too precious to interrupt. He drove home with the windows down. The evening air was cool on his face, and for the first time in 5 years, Evan Clark felt like he was exactly where he was supposed to be. Friday came slowly. Evan counted the hours. He tried to focus on work, but numbers blurred on his screen. Contracts needed signing. His assistant kept bringing him files. He nodded and signed without really reading. "Mr. Clark?" She stood in his office doorway, concerned. "Are you feeling all right? Your arm?" "I'm fine, Jennifer. Just distracted. If you need to take the day..." "I'm fine," he said again, softer this time. "Thank you." When Friday finally arrived, Evan left work early. He stopped at a store and stood in the toy aisle for 20 minutes. Everything seemed either too young or too old, too expensive or too cheap. What did 4-year-olds even like? He settled on a simple wooden puzzle with farm animals. Nothing fancy, nothing that screamed rich guy trying too hard. The playground was crowded when he arrived, kids everywhere, screaming, laughing, crying, the sound of childhood in full volume. Maya and Caleb were already there. They sat on a blanket under a tree. Caleb was eating apple slices from a container. When he saw Evan, he jumped up. "You came!" He ran over, nearly tripping on his own feet. "I promised, didn't I?" Evan knelt down to his level. "I brought you something, just a little thing." Caleb's eyes went wide. "A present?" "Kind of." Evan pulled out the puzzle. "Do you like puzzles?" "Yeah." Caleb grabbed it carefully like it was made of glass. "Look, Mama, a puzzle." Maya walked over, carrying the blanket and container. "That's very nice. What do you say?" "Thank you." Caleb beamed up at Evan. "You're welcome, buddy." They spread the blanket under the tree. Caleb immediately dumped out the puzzle pieces and started working. His small hands moved with surprising focus. Evan watched, amazed at how serious he looked. "You didn't have to bring him anything," Maya said quietly. "I wanted to. Just don't overdo it. I don't want him to think love comes with presents." "You're right. I'm sorry. I just wanted..." "I know." Maya's voice softened. "It's okay. One puzzle is fine. Just remember, he doesn't need things. He needs time. Time I can give." They sat on the blanket while Caleb worked on the puzzle. The afternoon sun filtered through the tree leaves. Other families played nearby. A normal Friday at a normal playground. Except nothing about this was normal for Evan. Every moment felt precious. The way Caleb stuck his tongue out when concentrating. The way he'd look up every few minutes to make sure Evan was still watching. The way he'd laugh when he got a piece in the right spot. "Mama, I'm thirsty," Caleb announced. Maya pulled out a juice box from her bag. Caleb took it and went right back to his puzzle. "He's really independent," Evan observed. "Has to be. It's been just us two for a long time." Maya pulled her knees up, wrapping her arms around them. "I work full-time. Sophia helps when she can, but mostly Caleb learned to entertain himself. That must have been hard." "It was what it was." Maya shrugged. "We made it work." Guilt pressed on Evan's chest. "I should have been there." "Stop." Maya looked at him directly. "We can't live in should have. We can only move forward." "You're right." Caleb finished the puzzle with a triumphant shout. "Done. Look, I did it all by myself." "That's amazing," Evan said. And it was. The pieces were all in the right spots. A perfect little farm scene. "Let's go to the park." Caleb jumped up. "The big park, with the ducks." Maya checked her phone. "We have time. If Evan wants to come." "I'd love to." The big park was 3 blocks away. They walked together. Caleb held both their hands, swinging between them. Every few steps he'd say, "Jump," and they'd lift him up. His laughter echoed down the sidewalk. People stared a little. A white man, a black woman, and a blonde child who looked like both and neither. But Evan didn't care. Let them look. The park had a pond with ducks and geese. Caleb ran ahead, stopping at the edge of the water. "Can we feed them?" "We didn't bring anything," Maya said. "The ice cream cart has crackers," Evan offered. "We could get some and maybe ice cream too?" Caleb's face lit up like Christmas. "Ice cream." Maya started to protest, probably about sugar before dinner, but Evan caught her eye. "Just this once," she sighed, smiling. "Just this once." They bought crackers and ice cream. Caleb got chocolate. Maya got vanilla. Evan got nothing. He was too full of emotions to eat. Caleb tossed crackers to the ducks. They quacked and fought over every piece. He laughed so hard he nearly dropped his ice cream cone. "Careful, buddy," Evan said, steadying his hand. "They're so funny." Caleb threw another cracker. A goose honked loudly. "That one's mad." They stayed until the crackers ran out and the ice cream was gone. The sun started to set, painting the sky pink and orange. Caleb's energy began to fade. His steps got slower. His words came further apart. On the walk back to Maya's apartment, he asked to be carried. Maya reached for him, but Caleb turned to Evan. "Can you?" Evan's heart stopped. "Me?" "Yeah. You're tall. I can see more." Maya nodded permission. Evan carefully lifted Caleb onto his shoulders. The boy's legs dangled on either side of his neck. Small hands gripped Evan's hair. "Whoa, I'm so high." Caleb's tiredness vanished temporarily. "Look, Mama, I'm taller than the trees." "Not quite," Maya laughed. Caleb was solid and warm on Evan's shoulders. Real. His son. This little person was his son. They walked slowly. Caleb pointed at things, a bird, a red car, a dog on a leash. His voice got softer with each block. By the time they reached Maya's building, Caleb was quiet. His head rested on top of Evan's. "He's falling asleep," Maya whispered. Evan stopped walking. He didn't want this to end. This moment. This perfect, simple moment. "We should get him inside," Maya said gently. Evan carefully lifted Caleb down. The boy's eyes were heavy. He leaned against Evan's leg, half asleep. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, Caleb looked up and said, "Daddy?" The word hung in the air. Everything stopped. The traffic noise, the birds, the world itself seemed to pause. Evan couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't do anything but stare down at this small child who'd just called him the most important name in existence. Maya's face went pale. "Caleb, honey. Mama said you live far away," Caleb mumbled, still half asleep. "But you're here now." Tears burned Evan's eyes. He knelt down, bringing himself to Caleb's level. "Yeah, buddy, I'm here now." "Good." Caleb leaned forward and hugged Evan's neck. A simple, trusting child's hug. "'Cause I like you." "I like you too," Evan whispered. "So much." Maya gently pulled Caleb back. "Come on, sleepy boy. Let's get you home." "Bye, Daddy," Caleb said, already drifting again. Evan couldn't speak. He just nodded. Maya picked Caleb up, settling him on her hip. She looked at Evan with wide eyes. I'll call you later." "Okay." He watched them disappear into the building. Then he sat on the front steps and put his face in his hands. Daddy. His son had called him Daddy. Evan sat on those steps for a long time. The sun finished setting. Streetlights flickered on. People walked past, going about their evening. Normal life continuing around him while his entire world had shifted. His phone rang. Sophia's name appeared on the screen. Maya must have given her his number. "Hello? It's Sophia, Maya's friend." Her voice was warm, matter-of-fact. "She told me what happened. Is she okay? Is Caleb—" "They're fine." Caleb went right to sleep. Didn't even remember saying it. Sophia paused. But Maya remembered. "I didn't prompt him. I swear I would never—" "I know. Maya knows too." Sophia's voice was kind. "Kids say what they feel. Caleb feels safe with you. That's good." Evan's eyes burned. "It's too fast. She's going to think I pushed—" "She doesn't think that. She's just processing." A sound in the background. Sophia was probably cooking dinner. "Look, I'm going to give you some advice. Take it or leave it. Please." Maya has spent 4 years being both parents to that boy. She's tired, scared, and fiercely protective. If you really want to be part of their lives, you need to be patient. Let her set the pace. Don't push. Don't rush. Just be steady. "I can do that." "Good. Because that little boy deserves a father who stays." Sophia's voice got firmer. "Not someone who panics when things get real." "I'm not going anywhere." "Then prove it. Day by day. No grand gestures. No throwing money around. Just show up. Be present. Be real." "Thank you," Evan said quietly. "Don't thank me. Thank Maya. She's giving you a chance most men don't deserve." Sophia hung up. Evan sat there with the phone still pressed to his ear. He needed advice. Real advice. From someone who understood. Mrs. Dalton lived 2 doors down from his penthouse. She was 65, widowed, and had been living in the building since before Evan moved in. She'd always been kind to him, brought him cookies at Christmas, asked about his mother, who died when Evan was young. Evan knocked on her door. It took a minute, then it opened. Mrs. Dalton stood there in a flowered housecoat, her grey hair in curlers. "Evan, are you all right, dear? Can I talk to you? I know it's late, but come in, come in." She stepped aside. Her apartment smelled like lavender and old books. Photos covered every surface, her late husband, her children, grandchildren, a life fully lived. "Sit," she commanded, pointing to her couch. "I'll make tea. You don't have to—" "Hush. You look like you need tea." Evan sat. Mrs. Dalton returned with 2 cups and settled in her armchair. She waited, patient and calm. "I have a son," Evan said. The words felt strange, real. "I just found out a week ago he's 4, and today he called me Daddy." Mrs. Dalton's face softened. "And that scared you?" "No. Yes, I don't know." Evan set down his tea before he spilled it. "It's everything I want and everything I'm terrified of. That's fatherhood. What if I mess up? What if I'm not good enough? His mother, Maya, she's been alone this whole time. She's done everything right, and I showed up. Did she push you away? No. She's giving me a chance. Then take it. Mrs. Dalton sipped her tea calmly. You know what I learned in 50 years of marriage. Love isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up every day, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. But what if I fail? Then you try again the next day. She smiled. That boy called you daddy because he feels safe with you. Don't waste that gift by doubting yourself. Just be there. Evan nodded slowly. You're right. I usually am. Mrs. Dalton winked. Now drink your tea, then go home and get some rest. Tomorrow is another day to show up. Maya called that night, after Caleb was asleep. I'm sorry about earlier, she said. I didn't expect him to say that. It's okay. Is it? Maya's voice was tired. I don't want to confuse him. We haven't even figured out what this is yet. What do you want to tell him? Silence. Then, the truth, eventually, but on our timeline. Not because he guessed. That makes sense. Evan, I need to know you're really in this, because if you're not, now's the time to walk away, before he gets more attached. I'm in, Maya, completely. Even when it gets hard, even when your father disapproves, even when it's not convenient. Especially then. Another long pause. Evan heard her breathing on the other end. Okay, she finally said. Then let's keep going, slow and steady. Whatever you need. Can you come over Sunday? For dinner? Nothing fancy, just normal family stuff. I'd love that. After they hung up, Evan stood by his window and looked out at the city. Somewhere out there, Maya was probably standing by Caleb's bed, watching him sleep, making sure he was safe, like she'd done every night for 4 years. Evan had a lot of nights to make up for, but he had time now, they all did. Sunday dinner started awkwardly. Evan arrived with flowers for Maya and a children's book for Caleb. Nothing expensive, just thoughtful. Maya's apartment was small but warm. Colorful pictures covered the fridge. Toys were organized in bins. Everything was clean, but lived in, loved. Caleb ran to the door when Evan knocked. You're here. I'm here. Evan handed him the book. This is for you. Caleb studied the cover. It has a dinosaur. I heard you like dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs. Caleb hugged the book. Can you read it to me? After dinner, Maya said, taking the flowers. Thank you. These are beautiful. They ate spaghetti at Maya's small kitchen table. Caleb talked non-stop about his week, his friend at daycare, a butterfly he saw, how he could almost write his whole name now. Evan listened to everything, memorizing details, learning about his son's life. After dinner, they settled on the couch. Caleb wedged himself between Evan and Maya. Book time. Evan read about dinosaurs. Caleb corrected him on pronunciation. Apparently, he was very serious about saying dinosaur names right. Halfway through, Caleb's head dropped onto Evan's arm. His eyes closed, his breathing evened out. He's asleep, Maya whispered. Evan looked down. Caleb's small face was peaceful, trusting. His hand still gripped the book. Should I move him? Evan asked quietly. Not yet. Let him rest. They sat in silence. The TV played softly with the sound off. Outside, the city hummed. Inside, everything was still. This is nice, Maya said after a while. Yeah. Scary, though. Yeah. Maya smiled a little. When he was a baby, I used to imagine moments like this. You here, us together, a real family. Why didn't you reach out again? After those first calls. Pride, maybe. Fear, definitely. Maya pulled a blanket over Caleb. And I convinced myself you were better off without us. That we'd just drag you down. You were never a burden, Maya. Never. I know that now. She looked at him. Do you know it? I'm learning. They talked in whispers while Caleb slept. About safe things. Work. The weather. Nothing too deep. Not yet. Around 8, there was a knock on the door. Maya checked the peephole and smiled. It's Mrs. Dalton, my neighbor. She opened the door. An elderly woman stood there with a container. Different from Evan's Mrs. Dalton, but with the same warm energy. I made too much soup, dear. Thought you might. She saw Evan and paused. Then her face lit up. Oh, you have company. How lovely. This is Evan, an old friend. How do you do? Mrs. Dalton handed Maya the soup. I won't keep you, just wanted to make sure you and the little one had something for tomorrow. Thank you. Maya hugged her quickly. You're always so thoughtful. After she left, Maya set the soup in the fridge. She does that. Brings food, babysits sometimes. She's been a lifesaver. You have good people around you. I've been lucky. Eventually, Evan had to leave. He carefully shifted Caleb off his lap. The boy stirred, but didn't wake. At the door, Maya walked him out. "Thank you for coming. Thank you for having me. Same time next week. I'll be here." Evan left feeling lighter, like pieces were falling into place. Monday morning shattered that peace. Evan was in his office when his assistant buzzed. "Your father is here." Before Evan could respond, the door opened. Paul Clark walked in like he owned the place. Expensive suit, cold eyes, authority radiating from every step. "Dad, I'm in the middle. We need to talk." Paul closed the door. "I heard you've been spending time with that woman again." Evan's jaw tightened. "Her name is Maya." "I don't care what her name is. I thought you learned your lesson 5 years ago." "The only lesson I learned was that I was an idiot for listening to you." Paul's eyes narrowed. "Watch your tone." "No." Evan stood. "I'm done watching my tone. Done letting you control my life. Maya has a son, my son, and I'm going to be part of his life whether you like it or not." "Your son?" Paul laughed, cold and sharp. "How do you know he's yours? She could be lying, probably is. Saw you made money and came running back." "Don't." Evan's voice was dangerously quiet. "Don't talk about her like that. I'm trying to protect you. From what? From having a family? From being happy? From making a mistake that will ruin your reputation and your business? If people judge me for taking care of my son, then I don't want their respect anyway." Paul stared at him like he'd grown a second head. "You can't be serious." "I've never been more serious." Evan moved toward the door. "Now get out. I have work to do." "Evan, out!" Paul left, his face red with anger. The door slammed. Evan's hands shook, his heart pounded. But underneath the adrenaline was something else. Relief. He'd finally stood up to his father, finally said what needed saying. It should have felt triumphant. Instead, he just felt tired. His phone buzzed. A text from Maya. "Everything okay? You seem quiet today." He hadn't even texted her yet. She'd just sensed it somehow. He typed back, "Just dealt with my father. I'm fine. Want to talk about it?" "Later. How's Caleb?" "Good. He keeps asking when you're coming back." Evan smiled despite everything. "Tell him soon." "I will." The rest of the week passed in a gentle rhythm. Evan stopped by Tuesday evening for a quick playground visit. Thursday, they got ice cream again. Friday, he read Caleb 3 books before bed. Each visit felt more natural, less forced. Caleb stopped treating him like a visitor, started expecting him, started planning things. "Tomorrow, can we go to the park again? Can you come to my daycare show next month? Can we get a dog?" That last one made Maya laugh. "No dogs, Caleb. We've talked about this." "But Daddy could help walk it." Evan's heart stopped every time Caleb said that word. Daddy. Like it was the most natural thing in the world. Maya never corrected him. Neither did Evan. They just let it be. The following Monday, Maya came home from work looking upset. She barely spoke during dinner. Caleb noticed. "Mama, are you sad?" "No, baby. Just tired." But after Caleb was in bed, she called Evan. "Someone at work saw us together," she said without preamble. Started gossiping, asking questions. "What kind of questions?" "If I was dating again, if you were Caleb's father, if that's why I suddenly have money." Maya's voice shook with anger. "I don't have money. I work full-time. I've never asked you for anything." "I know. People are going to talk, Evan. Make assumptions. Some of them won't be kind. Let them talk. That's easy for you to say. You're not—" She stopped. "I'm not what?" "Nothing. Forget it." But Evan knew what she meant. He was white, wealthy. The assumptions would fall harder on her than him. "Maya, talk to me. I need a day. To breathe. To think. This is moving so fast and I need to make sure we're doing right by Caleb." "Okay, whatever you need." "I'm not cutting you off," she said quickly. "I just need space to process." "I understand." "Do you?" "Yes. Take all the time you need. I'll be here when you're ready." After they hung up, Evan sat in his dark apartment. Outside, the city glittered. Inside, everything felt uncertain again. He wanted to fix this, to make the gossip go away, to protect Maya and Caleb from judgment. But he couldn't. Some things you just had to live through. His phone buzzed, a text from Maya. "Thank you for understanding." He wrote back, "Always." Another buzz. "You're a good dad." Those 4 words meant more than any business deal ever had. The next 2 days were quiet. No visits, no calls, just gentle text messages. Maya sent pictures of Caleb, updates about his day, little windows into the life Evan was becoming part of. And slowly, Evan realized something. Love wasn't about constant presence, it was about steady presence. About being there even when things were hard, even when it wasn't convenient. It was about choosing to stay again and again until staying became natural. On Wednesday evening, Maya texted, "Dinner Friday? Caleb misses you." Evan smiled at his phone. "I miss him too, I'll be there. Bring nothing, just yourself. Deal." Evan sat back and looked out at the city. Somewhere out there, his son was probably playing before bedtime. His mother was probably cleaning up dinner, their small, beautiful life continuing, and soon Evan would be part of it again. Not because he'd forced his way in, not because he'd bought his way in, but because he'd shown up, been patient, proven he was worth the risk, day by day, moment by moment, building something real. Friday dinner felt different. Caleb ran to the door like always. He hugged Evan's legs. "I missed you. I missed you too, buddy." Evan ruffled his hair. "Did you have a good week?" "Yeah, I learned a new song at school. Want to hear?" "Later," Maya said from the kitchen. She looked tired but gave Evan a small smile. "Come in. Dinner's almost ready." They ate chicken and rice. Simple food. Comfortable. Caleb talked about his week between bites, a field trip to the fire station, a craft project with dried leaves, how his friend Marcus could count all the way to 100. After dinner, Caleb played with his toys in the living room. Evan helped Maya clean up. They worked in easy silence, her washing, him drying. "I'm sorry about Wednesday," Maya said quietly. She handed him a wet plate. "I didn't mean to shut you out." "You didn't. You needed space. That's allowed. The gossip it got in my head, made me doubt everything." Evan set down the dish towel. "Maya, look at me." She turned, her hands still in the soapy water. "I don't care what people say," Evan said. "About us, about Caleb, about any of it. The only people who matter are in this apartment right now." Maya's eyes filled with tears. "You say that now, but what happens when it affects your business, your reputation? Then I'll deal with it. But I'm not walking away. Your father doesn't get a vote anymore." Evan's voice was firm. "I meant what I said. I'm done letting him control my life." Maya wiped her eyes with her sleeve. "I want to believe that. Then believe it." Evan took her hand, wet and soapy. "I'm here. I'm staying. Whatever comes." She nodded, squeezing his hand briefly before pulling away. "We should talk after Caleb goes to bed." "Okay." They finished the dishes. Caleb demanded his bedtime story. Tonight it was about a bear who couldn't sleep. Evan read while Caleb curled up in his small bed, clutching a stuffed dinosaur. "Daddy?" Caleb's voice was sleepy. "Yeah, buddy. Will you be here tomorrow?" "Not tomorrow, but soon." "Promise?" "Promise." Caleb smiled and closed his eyes. Within minutes he was asleep. Evan stood there watching him breathe, the rise and fall of his small chest, the way his hand still gripped the dinosaur. Everything about him was precious. Maya touched Evan's arm gently. "Come on, let him rest." They settled on the couch with tea. The apartment was quiet except for the occasional sound of traffic outside. Maya curled her legs under her, holding her mug with both hands. "I've been thinking a lot this week," she said, "about what we're doing, what this means for Caleb." "Me too. He's getting attached to you, calling you daddy, expecting you around." Maya stared into her tea. "And that's good. That's what I want for him. But it also terrifies me." "Why?" "Because if you leave, it won't just break my heart, it'll break his." The words hit Evan hard. "I'm not leaving. You keep saying that, and I want to believe you. But I need more than words, Evan. I need to know this is real, that you're really his father. That we're not building something on a guess." Evan set down his tea. "Are you asking me to take a paternity test? Would you?" "Yes, absolutely, if it'll give you peace of mind." Maya's shoulders relaxed slightly. "I don't want you to think I'm doubting you, or that I don't trust—" "Maya," Evan shifted closer. "I understand. You're protecting Caleb. That's exactly what you should do. If a test helps you feel secure, then let's do it. Really, really. But I already know what it'll say." "How can you be so sure?" Evan smiled sadly. "Because he has my eyes, my smile. Even the way he tilts his head when he's thinking. I see myself in him every single time I look at him." Maya's eyes filled with tears again. "I see it too." "Then let's do the test. Not because we doubt, but because it makes things official. Real." "Okay." Maya set down her mug. Her hands were shaking slightly. "I'll call the clinic Monday. Schedule it. We'll do it together." "Together," Maya repeated softly. They sat in silence for a while, the weight of the decision settling over them. This wasn't just about proving paternity. It was about moving forward, about choosing to build something permanent. "Can I ask you something?" Maya said eventually. "Anything. What changed? 5 years ago you were terrified of commitment, of family, of disappointing your father. What's different now?" Evan thought about it, really thought about it. "I grew up," he said finally. "These past 5 years I built the business, made the money, got everything my father said would make me happy, and you know what? I was miserable. Why? Because none of it mattered. The success, the money, the respect. It was all empty." Evan looked at her directly. "When I saw you at the hospital with Caleb, it was like I'd been holding my breath for 5 years and suddenly remembered how to breathe. That's a lot of pressure to put on a 4-year-old. It's not pressure. It's truth." Evan leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "You asked what changed. What changed is I finally figured out what actually matters, and it's not business deals or impressing my father. It's this. You and Caleb, family, love, the real stuff." Maya was quiet for a long time. "That's what I needed to hear. It's what I needed to say." She stood up, collecting their empty mugs. "You should probably go. It's getting late." Evan stood too. At the door, he paused. "Maya, thank you for giving me this chance, for not shutting me out, for everything. Thank you for showing up." He left feeling lighter despite the weight of what they'd decided. A paternity test, official confirmation, no more doubts, no more questions, just truth. Monday morning, Maya called a clinic. They had an appointment available that Wednesday. Quick, easy, just a cheek swab for each of them. "Results take 3 to 5 business days," the receptionist said. Maya confirmed the appointment and texted Evan, "Wednesday at 2 p.m. Can you make it?" "I'll be there." The next 2 days felt strange. Evan couldn't focus on work. He kept thinking about Wednesday, about the test, about what it would mean. Not that he doubted, but making it official felt huge, like closing one chapter and starting another. Tuesday evening, he stopped by Maya's apartment. Caleb was excited to see him, showing off a painting he'd made at school. Blue and green swirls that might have been ocean or might have been sky. "It's beautiful," Evan said honestly. "It's for you." Caleb thrust it at him. "To hang up at your house." Evan's throat got tight. "Thank you, buddy. I'll put it somewhere special." Maya smiled from the kitchen doorway. She looked calmer than she had on Friday, more settled. After Caleb went to bed, they talked about the appointment, where it was, what time to arrive. Simple logistics to avoid talking about how nervous they both were. "It's going to be fine," Evan said as he left. "I know." Maya hugged herself. "I just want it done. Want to know for sure." Soon. Wednesday arrived grey and drizzly. The clinic was in a quiet medical building downtown. Maya met Evan in the lobby. She'd left Caleb with Sophia. "Ready?" Evan asked. "As I'll ever be." The process was simple, quick. A nurse called them back together. She swabbed Evan's cheek first, then Caleb's sample, taken earlier that morning at home, was already submitted. The nurse labeled everything carefully. "Results in 3 to 5 business days," she confirmed. "We'll call with the results first, then mail official documents." "Thank you," Maya said. They walked out together. Rain had started, light and cold. Neither of them had an umbrella. "Coffee?" Evan suggested. "Or do you need to get back to Caleb? Sophia has him until 5. "Coffee sounds good." They found a small cafe nearby. Ordered. Sat by the window watching rain streak down the glass. "How do you feel?" Evan asked. "Nervous, relieved, anxious." Maya wrapped her hands around her mug. "All of it at once." "Me too." "Really? You seem so calm." "I'm good at pretending." Evan smiled slightly. "Inside, I'm terrified." "Of what?" "That this is all too good to be true. That somehow I'll mess it up. That I'll wake up and it'll have been a dream." Maya reached across the table. She took his hand. Her skin was warm against his. "It's real," she said quietly. "This is real." "I know." They sat like that for a while, hands linked across the table, rain falling outside, the world continuing around them. "What do we do now?" Maya asked. "Wait, keep doing what we're doing. Spend time together. And after the results, we figure it out then." The next few days were strange. Evan visited Thursday evening. They took Caleb to the park even though it was cold. The boy ran around burning energy, while Evan and Maya walked slowly behind him. 3 to 5 days, Maya said. "Today is day 2. I know. I keep checking my phone, even though I know they won't call yet." "Me too." Friday passed, then Saturday. Evan spent most of Saturday with them. They went to the library. Caleb picked out 6 books. They stopped for lunch. Simple sandwiches at a deli. Caleb got peanut butter and jelly, his favorite. "Can Daddy come to my school show?" Caleb asked around a mouthful of sandwich. Maya and Evan exchanged glances. "When is it?" Evan asked. "Next month. We're singing songs." "I'm a tree." "A tree?" Maya laughed. "You're singing?" "I'm a singing tree. It's important." Caleb's face was very serious. "Then I'll be there," Evan promised. Front row. Sunday was quiet. Maya needed to do laundry and grocery shopping. Normal life stuff. Evan offered to help, but she declined. "You don't need to spend every minute with us," she said gently. "We're still figuring this out." "I know, but I want to." "I know you do, but pace yourself. This is a marathon, not a sprint." Monday morning, Evan was in a meeting when his phone rang. Unknown number. He normally wouldn't answer, but something made him excuse himself. "Hello, Mr. Clark. This is Cedar Street Medical Clinic. I'm calling with the results of your paternity test." Evan's heart stopped. "Yes? The test confirms with 99.9% certainty that you are the biological father." The words echoed in his head. Biological father, official, real, no more questions. "Mr. Clark, are you there?" "Yes, I'm here, thank you. Thank you for calling. Official documents will be mailed within 5 business days. Do you have any questions?" "No, no questions. Thank you." He hung up, stood in the empty hallway outside the conference room. His hands shook, his eyes burned. He was officially a father. The phone rang again. "Maya, they called you too." Her voice was thick with emotion. "Yeah, Evan, you're his father. Really, truly. Can I come over? Right now?" "Yes, please, come now." Evan told his assistant he was leaving for the day, drove to Maya's apartment faster than he should have, ran up the stairs instead of waiting for the elevator. Maya opened the door before he could knock. Her face was wet with tears. Happy tears. "We have a son," she whispered. "We have a son," Evan repeated. They hugged, right there in the doorway, holding each other like they were the only stable things in a spinning world. "Where's Caleb?" Evan asked. "Daycare. I needed to process this first, figure out how to tell him." "What do we tell him?" Maya pulled back, wiping her eyes. "The truth, that you're his dad, that we're going to be a family." "Are we?" Evan's heart pounded. "A family. Yes." Maya's voice was firm now, certain. "Yes, we are." They sat on the couch, made a plan. They'd pick up Caleb together, take him to the park, his favorite place, tell him gently, let him react however he needed to. "He probably already knows," Maya said, "in his heart. Kids understand more than we think. Should we wait? Make it more special?" "No." Maya shook her head. "Let's tell him today. He deserves to know." They picked up Caleb at 3. He was excited to see them both, especially together. "We're all here," he shouted. "We wanted to pick you up together," Maya said, buckling him into his car seat, "and take you somewhere special. Ice cream? Maybe after. First, the park." The park was quiet on a Monday afternoon. A few other kids played in the distance. Caleb ran straight for the swings. "Push me," he called. Evan pushed while Maya sat on a nearby bench. After a while, Caleb got bored and ran to the sandbox. He started building something, focused and happy. Maya patted the bench beside her. Evan sat. She called Caleb over. "Come here, baby. We need to talk to you about something." Caleb's face got serious. "Am I in trouble?" "No, sweetie. Nothing like that." Maya pulled him onto her lap. "Remember how you've been calling Evan Daddy?" Caleb nodded, looking between them. "Well," Maya took a breath, "that's because he is your daddy. For real. We got a special test done to make sure, and it's true. Evan is your father." Caleb was quiet for a moment, processing. Then his face broke into the biggest smile. "I knew it," Evan laughed, surprised. "You knew?" "Yeah, you look like me. And you're nice. And you like the same things I like." Caleb reached out for Evan. "Can I have a hug?" Evan pulled him into his arms. The boy was solid and warm and real. His son. Actually, officially, permanently his son. "Does this mean you'll be here all the time now?" Caleb asked. Evan looked at Maya. She nodded. "I'll be here a lot," Evan said. "As much as your mom says is okay. Every day. Maybe not every day, but a lot." "Good." Caleb squirmed down and ran back to his sandbox. "Come help me build. You too, Mama." They spent the next hour building an elaborate sand castle. Caleb directed them like a tiny foreman. "More water, that tower needs to be taller, put a moat here." Other kids joined in. Parents watched from benches. Everything felt normal and extraordinary at the same time. On the way home, Caleb fell asleep in his car seat. Evan carried him up to the apartment. The boy's head rested on his shoulder, completely trusting. Maya opened the door quietly. Evan laid Caleb on his bed, pulling the covers up. "He took it well," Evan whispered. "He did. Better than I expected." They stood in Caleb's doorway, watching him sleep. "What now?" Evan asked. "Now we figure out how to actually be a family." Maya looked up at him. "Co-parenting, schedules, all the practical stuff." "And us?" Maya's breath caught. "What about us? Is there a chance we could—" Evan struggled to find words. "I still love you, Maya. I never stopped." "Evan, I'm not asking for anything right now. I know we need to focus on Caleb. But eventually, could there be an us again?" Maya was quiet for a long time. Then, "I don't know. Maybe. But it has to be slow. We're not the same people we were 5 years ago." "I know. And Caleb comes first. Always." "Of course. But—" Maya's voice softened. "I'd like to try someday when we're ready." Relief flooded through Evan. "That's all I'm asking for. A chance. You have it." The next few weeks fell into a rhythm. Evan came over 3 or 4 times a week. They had dinner together. He read bedtime stories. They went to the park on weekends. Slowly things shifted. Small touches that lingered. Smiles that meant more. The space between them on the couch getting smaller. But the past wasn't done with them yet. 3 weeks after the test results, Evan's father showed up at his office again, uninvited and angry. "You're making a mistake," Paul said without preamble. "Hello to you too, Dad. Don't be flippant. This is serious. You're throwing away everything we built for some woman and a kid who—" "Careful." Evan's voice went cold. "Very careful what you say next. I'm trying to protect you." "No, you're trying to control me, like you always have." Evan stood. "Caleb is my son. Maya is— she's important to me. And I'm done letting you poison that. I raised you better than this." "No, Mom raised me better than this. You just taught me to be afraid." Paul's face went red. "Your mother would be ashamed of how you're acting." Evan's voice shook but held firm. "She believed in love, in family, in being there for people. You taught me to be afraid of all that. I taught you to be practical. You taught me to be alone." Evan moved toward the door. "And I'm done. I have a son who needs me, a woman who's giving me a second chance, and I'm not going to waste it because you're uncomfortable. If you choose them, you're choosing to lose me." The ultimatum hung in the air, heavy, final. Evan looked at his father, really looked at him, saw the fear behind the anger, the loneliness behind the control. "Then I guess I'm choosing them," Evan said quietly. "I love you, Dad, but I can't live your life anymore. I need to live mine." Paul stared at him. Shock replaced anger, then something that might have been hurt. "Fine." Paul's voice was clipped. "Don't come crying to me when this falls apart." "I won't." Paul left. The door closed with a soft click. Evan sat at his desk and let out a long breath. His hands shook. His heart raced. But underneath the adrenaline was peace. He'd finally done it. Finally stood up. Finally chosen his own path. His phone buzzed. A text from Maya. "Caleb wants to know if you can come for dinner tonight. We're making tacos." Evan smiled. Typed back, "I'll be there. Wouldn't miss it." Another buzz. "Everything okay? You seem quiet today." "Just dealt with my father. For the last time, I think. Are you okay?" "I am now. See you at 6? "See you at 6. That little heart emoji meant everything. Evan packed up his office early, stopped at a store and bought ingredients for the best tacos he could manage. When he arrived at Maya's apartment, Caleb ran to the door. "Daddy, you're here. We're making tacos." "I brought extra stuff." Evan held up the bag. Maya appeared in the kitchen doorway. She looked at him carefully. "You okay?" "I'm good. Really good." She understood without more explanation. Came over and hugged him. Just a quick embrace, but it said everything. They made tacos together. All 3 of them. Caleb's job was tearing lettuce. He took it very seriously. Evan cooked the meat while Maya prepared everything else. It felt like family. Real messy, beautiful family. After dinner, after Caleb went to bed, Maya and Evan sat on the couch, closer than they had been sitting lately. "I'm proud of you," Maya said, "for standing up to your father. It was time. Still, I know it wasn't easy." "It wasn't, but it was necessary." Evan turned to face her. "I meant what I said. I'm choosing this. You and Caleb. Whatever that looks like." Maya's eyes were soft in the dim light. "What if I told you I want to try? Us, I mean. Really try." "I'd say I want that more than anything. We'd have to go slow for Caleb's sake." "Slow is good. And keep it separate from parenting stuff. Keep those things clear. Whatever you need. Maya smiled. What I need is for you to take me on a proper date. Just the two of us when I'm ready. Just tell me when. Soon. She leaned her head on his shoulder. But not tonight. Tonight, let's just be here. Here is perfect. They sat like that until Maya fell asleep. Heaven carefully shifted so she was more comfortable. Outside the city hummed. Inside everything was peaceful. Evan looked around the small apartment. The toys in bins. The pictures on the fridge. The life Maya had built from nothing. And now he got to be part of it. Not because he'd forced his way in, not because he'd bought his way in, but because he'd shown up, been patient, proven himself worthy of the gift he'd been given, a second chance, with the woman he'd never stopped loving, with the son he'd never known he needed, and this time he wasn't going to waste it. 2 weeks passed like a gentle dream. Evan fell into the rhythm of Maya and Caleb's life. Tuesday dinners, Thursday park visits, Saturday mornings at the library. Caleb started calling him Dad without the extra die. Just Dad, simple and perfect. One Saturday morning, they were reading books when Caleb looked up. Dad, can I tell my friends about you? Evan's heart squeezed. Of course, buddy. I'm your dad. You can tell anyone you want. Marcus said his dad comes to school sometimes for show and tell. Caleb's face was hopeful. Could you come? Evan looked at Maya. She nodded, smiling. I'd love to, Evan said. Caleb threw his arms around Evan's neck. You're the best dad ever. Later, after Caleb went to play in his room, Maya touched Evan's arm. Thank you for being so good with him. It's not hard. He makes it easy. Still, Maya's eyes were warm. Not every man would step up like this, especially after missing the first 4 years. I'm not trying to make up for lost time. I can't, but I can be here now. That's what matters. Maya leaned closer. For a moment, Evan thought she might kiss him, but Caleb ran back in, demanding they play dinosaurs. The almost kiss stayed with Evan all week, the way Maya had looked at him, the closeness, the promise of something more. He wanted to rush it, to push forward, but he remembered Sophia's advice. Be patient, be steady. Let Maya set the pace. Thursday evening, Maya seemed nervous at dinner. She kept glancing at Evan, playing with her food. Finally, after Caleb went to bed, she said what was on her mind. I want to go on a date, a real one. Just us. Evan's heart jumped. Yeah, Sophia can watch Caleb Friday night if you're free. I'm free, completely free. Maya laughed. You don't even know what time. Doesn't matter. I'm free whenever you want. 7 o'clock. Nothing too fancy. Just normal. Normal is my favorite. Friday took forever to arrive. Evan changed clothes 3 times, too formal, too casual, finally settled on dark jeans and a nice shirt. He picked Maya up at 7. She wore a simple blue dress. Her hair was down in soft waves. She was beautiful, had always been beautiful. You look amazing, he said. She blushed. You clean up pretty nice yourself. They went to a quiet Italian restaurant. Nothing too expensive or showy, just good food and soft lighting. They ordered wine, talked about easy things at first. Work, Caleb, the weather. Then the conversation deepened. I've been thinking about us, Maya said. About what happens next. Me too. 5 years ago we failed. We were young and scared and didn't know how to fight for each other. I didn't fight for you, I should have. We both gave up too easy. Maya set down her wine glass. But we're different now. Older, hopefully wiser. Definitely wiser. So if we're going to do this, really do this, we need to be honest about everything. Our fears, our expectations, what we want. Evan nodded. You're right. So I'll go first. I'm terrified. Maya blinked, surprised. Of what? Of messing this up. Of not being good enough. Of letting you down again. Evan's voice was steady despite the admission. But I want this more than I've ever wanted anything. A real relationship. Not just co-parenting. I want us to be together. A family. If you'll have me. Maya's eyes glistened. I'm terrified too. Of getting hurt. Of Caleb getting hurt. Of trusting again and being wrong. You're not wrong. I want to believe that. Then believe it. Evan reached across the table, took her hand. I can't promise I'll be perfect. I'll probably mess up sometimes, but I promise I'll show up. Every single day. I promise I'll choose you and Caleb over everything else, including my father, including business, including pride. A tear slipped down Maya's cheek. That's all I've ever wanted. Then it's yours, I'm yours. Maya squeezed his hand. I want to try. For real this time. Not just dating. I want to build something permanent, something that lasts. So do I, but slow. We go slow for Caleb's sake, as slow as you need. They finished dinner holding hands across the table, talking about the future, where this could go, what it might look like. After dinner, they walked through a nearby park. String lights hung between trees. Other couples strolled past. Music played somewhere in the distance. "I've missed this," Maya said. "Just being with you, talking, not worrying about everything else. We should do it more often." "We should." They stopped under a large oak tree. Fairy lights twinkled above them. Maya turned to face Evan. Her eyes were bright in the soft light. "Can I kiss you?" Evan asked quietly. "I thought you'd never ask." He leaned down. She met him halfway. The kiss was gentle, sweet, full of promise and possibility. When they pulled apart, Maya was smiling. "I've missed that too." "Me too. So much." They kissed again, longer this time. Evan's hands found her waist, her arms wrapped around his neck. 5 years of longing and regret and hope, all wrapped into one perfect moment. When they finally headed back to pick up Caleb, everything felt different, lighter, like pieces had finally clicked into place. Sophia opened the door with Caleb asleep on her couch. He crashed an hour ago, didn't want to go to bed without saying goodnight. "Thank you for watching him," Maya said. "Anytime." Sophia looked between them and grinned. "So, how was your date?" Maya's cheeks turned pink. "Good. Really good." "About time," Sophia said to Evan. "Now don't mess it up." "I won't." Evan carried Caleb to the car. The boy stirred but didn't wake. At Maya's apartment, Evan laid him in bed while Maya changed into comfortable clothes. "Do you want to stay?" Maya asked when Evan came back to the living room. "Just for a while. We could watch a movie." "I'd like that." They settled on the couch, closer than they'd been before. Maya's head on his shoulder, his arm around her. A romantic comedy played on TV, but neither really watched. "This feels right," Maya whispered. "It does. I'm glad we found our way back." "Me too." They stayed like that until the movie ended. Then Evan kissed her goodnight at the door, soft and sweet and full of promise. "See you tomorrow?" Maya asked. "Definitely." Evan drove home feeling like he was floating. Everything was falling into place. His family, his relationship, his life. But there was still one thing left to resolve. Monday morning, Evan drove to his father's house. He hadn't been there in months. The large estate looked the same, perfectly maintained lawns. Expensive cars in the driveway, everything designed to impress. Evan rang the doorbell. His father's housekeeper answered. "Is he home?" "In his study, Mr. Clark." Evan walked through the familiar halls, past photos of business achievements, awards, articles. Nothing personal, nothing warm. He knocked on the study door. "Come in." Paul sat behind his massive desk. He didn't look up. "I'm busy, Evan." "This won't take long." Paul finally looked at him. His face was hard, cold. "If you're here to apologize..." "I'm not." Evan stayed standing. "I'm here to set boundaries." "Boundaries?" "Yes. You're my father. I'll always love you, but I won't let you control my life anymore." Paul leaned back in his chair. "This is about that woman. Her name is Maya, and yes, it's about her and Caleb, my son. Your supposed son. My confirmed son. We did a paternity test. He's mine. Officially. Legally." Paul's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. "I'm going to be part of his life," Evan continued. "I'm going to be with Maya. We're building a family, and you can either accept that and be part of it, or you can stay out. But you will not interfere. You're making a mistake. That's your opinion, but it's my life, my choice. She'll hurt you, take your money, ruin your reputation. Maya has never asked me for anything. Not money, not help, not even acknowledgement. She raised Caleb alone because I wasn't man enough to be there." Evan's voice was firm. "She's the strongest, most selfless person I know, and if you can't see that, you're the one with the problem." Paul stood, walked to the window, stared out at his perfect lawn. "Your mother would have liked her," he said quietly. Evan blinked, surprised. "What?" "Maya, your mother would have liked her." Paul's voice was different now, softer. "She always said I was too hard, too focused on appearances. She wanted you to find real love, real happiness. She did. I failed her." Paul turned. His face looked older suddenly, tired. "After she died, I threw myself into business, into building the company, making sure you had every opportunity. But I forgot to teach you the things that mattered. Dad, I was wrong." The admission seemed to cost him. About Maya, about you, about what makes a good life. Evan didn't know what to say. He'd never heard his father admit being wrong about anything. "I'm not asking to be best friends," Paul continued. "But I am your father, and I'd like to meet my grandson, if you'll let me." Evan's throat tightened. "That's up to Maya." "Fair enough." They stood in awkward silence. Years of tension between them. Years of misunderstanding. "I'll talk to her," Evan finally said. "But you need to respect her. Respect us. No more ultimatums. No more pressure." "Agreed. And if you ever insult her or Caleb again, we're done. Permanently." Paul nodded. "Understood." Evan turned to leave. At the door he paused. "Mom would be proud of me, Dad. I wish you could be too." "I am." Paul's voice was barely audible. "I just didn't know how to show it." Evan left, drove away from the estate. His hands shook on the steering wheel. He hadn't expected that. Hadn't expected his father to bend, to admit fault. Maybe people could change. Maybe it wasn't too late for them either. He called Maya, told her everything. "Do you want him to meet Caleb?" she asked. "Only if you're comfortable. He's Caleb's grandfather. If he's really changed, if he's going to be respectful, then yes, family is important." "Thank you. But slow. We meet somewhere public first. Let Caleb decide if he's comfortable. Of course, whatever you think is best." 2 weeks later, they met Paul at a park. Caleb was nervous, gripping Maya's hand. Paul walked up, and Evan barely recognized him. No expensive suit, just slacks and a sweater. His face was open, almost vulnerable. "So you must be Caleb," Paul said, kneeling down. "I'm your grandfather." Caleb hid behind Maya's legs. "I don't know you. That's fair. But I'd like to get to know you, if that's okay." Caleb peeked out. "Do you like dinosaurs?" Paul smiled. Actually smiled. "I don't know much about them, but I'd like to learn." That was all it took. Caleb launched into a detailed explanation of different dinosaur types. Paul listened with genuine interest, asked questions, let Caleb talk. After an hour, Caleb was comfortable enough to show Paul the playground. Maya watched carefully, protective but willing to let it happen. "He's trying," she said to Evan. "He is. Think it'll last?" "I hope so, but if it doesn't, we'll be fine either way." Maya squeezed his hand. "We will." Weeks turned into months. Summer arrived. The city got hot and busy. But inside Maya's apartment, everything felt peaceful. Evan spent most nights there now. Sometimes he stayed over, sleeping on the couch. Other times he went home, but he was always there for breakfast, for bedtime stories, for everything in between. One evening, after Caleb was asleep, Maya curled up next to Evan on the couch. "I've been thinking," she said. "Dangerous," he teased. She swatted his arm playfully. "Serious thinking. About us. About the future. Okay. You spend so much time here. You have clothes in my closet. Your toothbrush in the bathroom. You're part of our routine. Is that a problem?" "No. But it's a question." Maya looked up at him. "What are we doing, Evan? Where is this going?" Evan's heart raced. "Where do you want it to go?" "I asked first." He smiled, kissed her forehead. "I want everything. I want to wake up here every morning. I want to officially be a family. I want Caleb to have both parents under one roof, and I want you every single day, for the rest of my life." Maya's eyes filled with tears. "That's a lot. Too much?" "No, not too much. Just, are you sure? Because once we do this, it's forever. No backing out, no running when things get hard." "I'm sure. More sure than I've ever been about anything. My apartment is small. We could look for something bigger. Together. That's a big step. We've already taken the biggest steps. This is just the next one." Maya was quiet for a long moment. Then she smiled. Okay. Let's do it. Let's find a place together. Be a real family." Evan pulled her close, kissed her properly, deep and full of promise. "I love you," he whispered against her lips. "I love you too. I think I never stopped." "Me neither." They spent the evening planning, looking at apartments online, talking about what they needed, what they wanted. A home big enough for all of them, with a yard for Caleb, in a good school district. 2 months later, they moved into a small house with a backyard. Nothing fancy, but warm and perfect for them. Caleb got his own room. Evan and Maya shared the master bedroom. Paul helped them move, actually carrying boxes and assembling furniture. He was trying, really trying. Mrs. Dalton, Maya's former neighbor, visited often. She and Paul even struck up an unlikely friendship, bonding over grandparent stories. Life settled into something beautiful and normal. Evan worked from home 2 days a week. Maya kept her job at the school. Caleb started kindergarten. They were a family, real and imperfect and wonderful. One Saturday evening in September, Evan took Maya on another date. Sophia watched Caleb, They went to a quiet garden that had walking trails and soft lighting. "This is nice," Maya said, taking his hand. "Reminds me of our first real date." "That's the idea." They walked slowly, talking about everything and nothing, how Caleb was doing in school, plans for his upcoming birthday, whether they should get that dog he kept asking for. Evan led her to a small gazebo covered in fairy lights. Inside, someone had set up candles and flowers. "Evan, what is this?" He turned to face her, took both her hands. His heart pounded so hard he could hear it. "5 years ago I let you go. It was the biggest mistake of my life." His voice shook slightly. "But somehow, impossibly, you gave me another chance. You let me into your life, into Caleb's life. You built a family with me." "Evan, let me finish." He smiled. "You are the strongest, most incredible woman I've ever known. You raised our son alone. You built a life from nothing, and then when I showed up, you were brave enough to trust again, to believe I'd changed." Tears streamed down Maya's face. "I want to spend the rest of my life proving you right," Evan continued. "I want to be the man you deserve, the father Caleb deserves. I want to wake up next to you every morning and fall asleep beside you every night. I want everything, forever." He knelt down, pulled a small box from his pocket. Maya gasped. "Maya Brooks, will you marry me?" She was crying too hard to speak, just nodded over and over, her hands covered her mouth. "Is that a yes?" Evan asked, smiling through his own tears. "Yes," she choked out. "Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes." He slipped the ring on her finger, simple and beautiful, then stood and kissed her. She threw her arms around his neck. They held each other, crying and laughing at the same time. "I love you so much," Maya whispered. "I love you too. Always have. Always will." They stayed in that gazebo until the candles burned low, talking about the future, about wedding plans, about telling Caleb. When they picked up Caleb from Sophia's, they told him together. He didn't quite understand what marriage meant, but he understood they were all staying together. "Forever?" he asked. "Forever," Evan confirmed. "Good, 'cause I don't want you to leave." "Never. I'm not going anywhere." Caleb hugged them both. His small arms couldn't reach all the way around, but he tried anyway. 3 months later, they had a small wedding in the same park where Evan had first played with Caleb. Nothing big or fancy, just family and close friends. Caleb was the ring bearer. He took the job very seriously, walking slowly down the aisle with the rings on a small pillow. Paul was there, sitting next to Mrs. Dalton, both elderly faces smiling, happy for the family they'd helped build. Sophia cried through the whole ceremony. She hugged Maya afterward and whispered, "You deserve this, all of this." When the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, Evan kissed Maya like it was the only thing that mattered, because it was. At the reception, Caleb ran between tables, showing everyone his suit. "My dad got married," he told anyone who would listen, "and I helped." As the sun set, Evan stood with his new wife and son. His father approached, looking emotional. "Thank you," Paul said quietly, "for letting me be part of this. I know I don't deserve it." "Family doesn't have to be deserved," Evan said. "It just has to be chosen." Paul nodded, hugged his son briefly, then knelt down to Caleb. "Want to come visit your grandfather next week? I found some dinosaur books I think you'd like." Caleb's eyes lit up. "Really? Really?" Later, as the party wound down, Evan found Maya standing alone, watching the string lights sway in the breeze. "Hey, Mrs. Clark," he said, wrapping his arms around her waist from behind. "Hey yourself, Mr. Clark." She leaned back against him. "Can you believe this is real? Some days, no. But then I look at you and Caleb, and I know it is. We made it. After everything, we actually made it. We did." Caleb ran over, tugging on Evan's jacket. "Dad! Mama! Come dance! They're playing the good song." Evan looked at Maya. She smiled. They let Caleb pull them to the dance floor. The three of them danced together, clumsy and laughing and perfect. Other people joined them, family and friends all celebrating. But for Evan, the only people who mattered were right there in his arms. His wife, his son, his family. He'd spent 5 years lost. 5 years thinking success meant money and power, and his father's approval. But standing here dancing under string lights with his family, he finally understood what success really meant. It meant showing up, being present, choosing love over fear. It meant being brave enough to try again, to trust again, to build something real. It meant waking up every morning grateful for second chances, for redemption, for grace. As the song ended, Caleb yawned. Maya scooped him up. He rested his head on her shoulder, already half asleep. "Ready to go home?" she asked Evan. Home. Not his penthouse. Not her old apartment. Their home. Together. Yeah, Evan said, taking her free hand. Let's go home. They walked to the car as stars appeared overhead. Caleb mumbled sleepily about dinosaurs and wedding cake. Maya hummed softly. Evan just soaked it all in. This moment. This family. This life. He'd gotten it all wrong once. Let fear win. Let other people's opinions matter more than his own heart. But now he had everything that mattered. Love, family, purpose, and he'd never take it for granted again. As they drove home through quiet streets, Caleb asleep in the back seat, Maya's hand in his, Evan smiled. Life wasn't perfect. There would be challenges ahead, hard days and difficult moments, but they'd face them together, as a family, and that made all the difference. The end.